I was locked into my office on Thursday noontime.
You were?
I couldn't believe it. I was
In your
locked
office?
into my office.
Inside your office.
Inside my office. So I called somebody on a cell phone. I said, George, I'm locked in the office. Send somebody over, let me out of here. Then fortunately, I found some keys. And one key opened the door. It's
To the
crazy.
building or to your
be
office?
locked in.
I know. Well, that's how I felt. I'm locked
Is
in at the beach
terrifying.
outside. It was a terrifying feeling.
It is.
It was horrible, and I'm thinking, my God, how am I going to get myself out of here? I didn't even know who to
Your
call.
daughter was locked into the bathroom not too long ago, and I was on the outside with her friend, and she's locked in, and that was a little bit nerve-wracking, and you weren't home.
I gotta get that lock fixed because that happened. It gets turned just a little bit and it locks from the inside without necessarily
and they get
being
locked
intentional.
inside.
They got locked, and I'm calmly trying to
I've had that
direct
with the
her
kids.
how to unlock the door. Of course, I didn't even remember what kind of lock it was. Fortunately, Layla was coaching me. So when I finally got her out, I then relayed the story to them how I got locked in to my house when I was 5 as well. My mother had gone out to the hallway and I closed the door, which locked it. So she's locked out and I'm locked in. She was panicking out there. I'm in this whole house by myself. I was probably 4. And she's trying to direct me calmly. Go get a chair, pull the chair over to the door,
I remember when
carefully
Jake
climb
got
up on the chair, stand on your tippy toe, take your hand, turn. It was, kind of a complicated lock, and she's trying to direct me, and I'm trying so hard to do it. My little hands just, couldn't. It was a little hard to do, just couldn't do it, and I was feeling so nervous because I felt that I had done something horrible. And she had to talk me through this whole thing, and eventually I actually was able to do it. And then she had to push me up the chair. And, oh my God!
What about on my house when that wood? If you don't take the wood out of the track, that's why I never stand the stick up because it can fall down and
That's
you can't
right.
get the door open.
That's right.
And a couple of years ago, Julia shut the door on Neil, and locked it, and walked away. And he was stuck out there on the deck. Like there's no way to get down.
Oh, it's a sliding door?
A sliding door, and he's
Is
like
that why you put that key now hidden at the
outside, but it doesn't help if you're stuck out on the deck.
If there's a wood stick there,
Oh,
you can't.
I see.
You can't. So that's what happened the other night when you were there.
Yes.
The stick rolls in, and you can't get out from there. But no, now I have a hide key because that has always made me
You don't
nervous.
just jump off the.
It's too
deck.
high. I'm
So
gonna
do you have a
cut
hide
the
key?
screen.
Daddy.
No, there's no key. It's not like you can get back in.
Oh, that's
There is no
right.
Oh my
key.
gosh. We had Jake got,
There has to be another
as
way.
And I
a
think-
baby, he got locked in the car. We had our Jeep. And he was still in a car seat. So he had to be about 2 years old. It was probably the same year we got locked in the beach club. That was not a very popular year.
No, he didn't.
A good year.
Noah wasn't
No,
born
he
yet.
didn't.
No, we haven't had any Noah locked in or out stories yet, thank
No,
goodness.
he was sleeping in the car.
Well, this was Jake. Jake was
says Jake.
sleeping in the car, and he was in a baby seat, and he was sitting next to the passenger side door. And Brian and I and Lindsay and Jake had gone over to my mom's house for some reason to pick something up, drop something off, something like
Okay,
that.
so we were just there.
And without realizing that
You locked
Brian
them?
had the keys in the ignition, with the ignition on, I put the lock on the door because I didn't want anybody. Jake was sitting in a seat. I didn't want anyone to come and take Jake out. But we went in very quickly and came out. I go to open the door. Oh my God, the door is locked. Car is running. The 3 of us are outside of the car.
And
Jake
you're
is in his car seat.
and you're screaming. Jake!
No, Jake
press the
was
button.
so good at reaching forward. He was always
But
able
he
to
was
undo
fast
his
asleep.
seatbelt. You jump in the story though. Wait, eventually he was, and I'm trying to get him. Jake, just lean up and push the button and get the lock open. And he's
Which,
sitting
of course,
there.
you've taught him so much not to do, right?
But it's okay, Mommy needs you to do it. You're stuck in the car. We can't get the door open.
He was
so
not
he was kinda
two.
like
He was
reaching,
small. He was little, I think.
reaching, and finally he got so tired and so frustrated he gave up. And he laid back in his seat and he just went to sleep.
Oh.
So here I'm thinking, okay, the car might run out of gas in about 14 hours, and eventually
How did
shut
you
off.
get
We
it?
can't get back to our house to even get in the house because the house key is there. My mother didn't have a spare key. We called the police.
Obviously.
Forever calling the police. I must be on like child abuse list or something. My child's locked in a running car. We're in front of, my mother's house in the driveway. Please come and help us get there. Police come. Can't get the door open. The police don't have a Slim Jim, of all people. They don't have anything. So they're trying to get the car open. They got a wire hanger. They're trying to feed
So
it through
they-
the window, and
come
it's one of those new locks that you can't grab the
Yeah.
top of the button. You'd
Right.
have to get the door latch, and you can't because it's all against the door.
So then me and Dad went
Lindsay and
downstairs.
Brian go into
Burglar-proof
the,
is
into
what it
the
is.
garage, and they get this big yardstick.
No, we went to look for something
I'm
to
gonna let
open
Lindsay tell
it,
the story.
and
Go ahead.
and then I found the yardstick
Uh-huh.
thing, and I brought it upstairs.
They bring it outside, and Brian fed it through, and voila, got the door open.
And what did
With
you
a
use? What was
yardstick?
it?
Well, like a
It's not too
yardstick.
thick.
I don't know. They were able to get it in, and it worked somehow.
I
I
don't
don't know
see
how
how
they
they
popped
did
the
that.
lock.
Do you want to know what my Julia did?
Yeah, this is a story.
Oh, about a month ago. She was over at her friend's house and I needed to pick her up. And this is one of those friends that is fine when she comes to our house to play, but I really don't like when she goes there. It's just kind of like her mom's language I don't particularly care for 100%, and their kids are just a little rambunctious, so. She's got this big hunker clunker car in the driveway, like a 1963 Ford Galaxy, I later learned, which she bought as a fixer-upper. She wanted to fix the carburetor and do all these things, like as a hobby. As I pulled up to the driveway, I thought to myself, oh, you should probably, what if that old clunker's, emergency brake or something falters, you should back out of the driveway a little bit. But I was on the phone getting beat up by my cousin Kim for forgetting to go to her 40th birthday party, and I just let it go. So anyway, I get the kids out, and her daughter opens the car, and her kids go in, and I said, Julia, don't go in there, we have to leave. And she hesitated for a moment, and then, of course, she went on in the car, and the mother and I are chatting behind the car, and I'm watching the kids now jump. Now, this is like a really hunk of steel, 50,000-pound car. Then the kids now jump over to the front seat, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm really not comfortable with this. But I still don't say anything. And so I'm thinking, she knows all about cars, and it's got to be perfectly safe. Here she's working on them. This is a hobby of hers.
The mother.
The mother, and they're all playing to pretend to drive, and all of a sudden, I understand. My daughter pulls the thing right out of gear, and it rolls 4 feet and smashes into my car, causing $3,500 worth of damage. So bad I couldn't get my door open to get in the car.
The driver's
And I
side
just
is
couldn't believe it. It was like so stupid on my part. Like it was just against everything. I knew every step of the way it wasn't the right thing to do. And I let it get out of my control that way. And I'm watching, we're like watching the car, and I'm thinking, what, do I think about the kids? God forbid the kids are all right, right? I'm thinking, my car, the thing's going to run into my car. Thank God, it's on the driveway's on a slight incline, maybe 4 feet, $3,500 worth of damage. The kids were all fine, thank goodness. And her car had absolutely nothing wrong with it. Except this little teeny dent in this, it's like the cars you used to drive. Just like
They're
this.
like Sherman tanks.
Oh,
Nothing
they
could-
are
nothing
like
could
Sherman
destroy
tanks.
them.
So Julia, of course, felt awful, and it was just such an accident. And it was like, there
Thank
are
God you
no
weren't
safety
sitting in that
mechanisms
car.
on.
Yeah, but needless to
I know.
say, the mother was screaming because there was a scratch in her car.
Actually, she felt really bad too. There was a little scratch in her car, but as she said, but she went over budget. Like I think she only had like $3,500 on the whole car for as much as it was going to cost, the insurance and everything. So she overwent her budget, unfortunately. And then it was kind of awkward because she's a, sort of a friend, and whose fault is it, and this and that. And anyway, her insurance company picked up everything. But now I have this annoying sound, which I can't get shut off. They finally did call me for the part, but I never called them back. And so it sounds like the door buzzer constantly goes if I don't fasten my seatbelt before I apply the brake or put it in gear. It's very odd. So I've got to get that fixed now. They said
When
it's
does
got
this
something
all
with the
happen?
ignition. but the
it's
car looks as
a
good as
little
new.
residual reminder of the rambunctiousness of young children.
They were so cute though. They were just jumping in that front seat.
Right,
Let's
let's get-
drive the wheel. Here
Let's
we go.
take off.
La, 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 la.
Why is this little child up all so late?
Of course, she's loving the stories. So, right, bub? Want to lay down now?
I see a mosquito right there.
Want to lay down now?
Yeah.
Can I
Yeah.
ask you
Day
a
tomorrow.
question, Julia? Can I ask you a question? When you went in that room,
How
Was
are
your
any of us
cousin
going to
Julia
get up for
sleeping?
that picnic tomorrow?
she was.
No.